Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to change the way the world eats. My name is Shurina, and I'm certified nutritionist, health, nutrition, brain performance coach, productivity coach, and just someone with a lot of passion for helping you guys to learn how to use nutrition and all different other lifestyle tools to feel, look, and do your absolute freaking best. Guys, today I am super excited because I finally finished all the edits of my upcoming book. Well, it's already on Amazon and you can pre-order it, but it's upcoming because the ability to read this book is going to be available only on the June 18th. So just in a few short days. And I'm very excited about finishing that book. Because first, it was tormenting me for several months. You know, it's like something, I don't know if you have ever experienced that, but you get an idea and you know it has to come out through you and it just sits in your brain and it's like draining your energy. And I committed to writing it probably like 4 months ago. And since then, at first, it was really slow, the process, and then it got faster and faster and faster, and to the end, it was the fastest. But I knew I was ready, and I knew, like, this book, I had to write it. Like, that was my job to write it. And this is the first book that I want to, like, tell the whole world about, because I know it's very, very useful, and it's something very, very unique that only I, with my experience, can provide. So the final name of the book is Fit and Focus Brain Body Blueprint for Remote Pros and Digital Nomads. So as you guessed from the title, it's about staying fit and focused, using neuroscience, using integrative health science to adjust, so to speak, different settings in our brain, in our body, through our lifestyle, our food choices, different behavior protocols to basically feel and look our best. And why for remote pros and digital nomads? A friend of mine asked me, it's like, what is it? What makes it, specifically designed for those people? Well, because most protocols, when I was telling the stories, they were based on lives of people like us guys who work remotely, who can change their location if they wish to, and who don't have an office, not really, either, permanently or temporarily. It's all about how to organize your work-life balance when you don't have any job to go to, when your work is your computer. And the book, again, is based on my personal experience, more than 10, now I think it's 12 years of working and living in different places, moving and not having a home. And then all of my clients who I work with, most of them are the same, either remote professionals or entrepreneurs, location independent entrepreneurs who change their location quite often and who don't have office either working from home or again from different countries and continents and cities. And so all of the protocols that I've accumulated through my more than a decade-long career from, a lot of neuroscience research, a lot of very recent nutrition and integrative health research, I put it all into this book, but through the lens of myself and my clients, of people who work and live remotely. And it's specifically, again, designed to give you that blueprint to build your routines around your health, your fitness, your work, your mental well-being and happiness, and also, of course, around your productivity and your focus and staying fit with very simple tools. It's not some workout program. Those are principles that you want to keep for life. And because those are principles, even though I tell them through a lot of very specific stories, they're actually very flexible. And that's what I'm also, throughout the book, I'm trying to emphasize is like, this is how you can adjust it. This is how it works. And then what makes it also specifically designed for remote pros or digital nomads like yourself, like myself, is that at the end of every chapter, I have specific sections called nomadic hacks. And it's basically remote and nomadic hacks, how to adapt all of these protocols to the best possible outcome to that location independent remote lifestyle. I call them nomadic hacks, but again, it's really useful and designed for remote people too, because when you work remotely, sometimes you do travel, sometimes you don't. The idea is you just work. Your work is your computer. And you kind of have to build your life around that. And it's about lifestyle, things like sleep or light viewing and how to do it by science and what you can do when you don't have the ability to go for a morning walk. Nutrition protocols, supplements, all the basic knowledge that you need to have to stay productive, but also to easily stay healthy and fit, no matter where in the world you are. And then it's also the third part. It's about those behavior protocols around your work, mostly how to stay focused, how to stay productive. And by the way, guys, very soon, today I'm going to share with you one very simple protocol to help you to stay focused instead of watching TikToks and YouTube or looking up different articles on things that you wanted to look up. Instead of that, focusing on your work. Very simple protocol. Again, it's based on neuroscience and your brain's capacity to do certain things. So stay tuned. That's going to be very actionable. It's actually what a friend of mine, when he heard about my book, asked me. So these protocols around focus and productivity and the best lighting and the best kind of ceiling in your room, the best kind of music or even smells, and how to build productive environment, and why sometimes in some places we feel productive and focused, and in some places we don't, and how to adjust that environment, especially if you travel a lot. So it's a very useful book. As you can see, I can talk about it. And it's not a big book. It's like about 100 pages on Kindle. And it's very simple. It's very practical. It's very dense with practical knowledge. And again, lots of stories from myself, living in Mexico right now, going through stuff, and also a lot of stories from my clients. And in the next edition of this book, I want to add a lot of stories from you readers and listeners. So on Friday, I'm going to share with you the link to this book, and it's going to be available for reading on Saturday. And then when you read it and implement it, and also you're going to have the ability to work with me, to connect with other people who read this book, right? We're going to have a meetup for the readers. So a lot of cool stuff in this book, and I'm gonna again edit it and make it even better based on your stories. And that's about the book. Very excited about that. And now it feels like you give birth to an idea and you're like, oh, done, it's out of me. Edits and everything, it's kind of like simple, but the main job is done. It really feels like giving birth. It feels like magic also, it never existed before me, and now it does because of my life experience, and people can learn from it, interact with it, use it, and change their lives. So that's pretty cool. If you have a book sitting in you, guys, write it. I don't know if you knew that, but writing a book these days, especially nonfiction, specifically probably nonfiction, is quite simple. It's been simplified by so many services offered. If you don't know how to spell it, or even how to write sentences, how to put together sentences that are really well written. I don't consider myself a proficient writer either, but the book, it's fun, so read it. Although it might have some typos. The idea is you can actually hire companies who will interview and get your idea out of you and then put it into a book, write the book for you. You can also draft your book by speaking to your phone, for example. And then you can hire editors and spell checkers to edit your manuscript, to check all the spelling, etc. And then you approve it, and then you publish it. Also, if you didn't know that, especially for nonfiction books, primarily for nonfiction books, if you don't have all the knowledge in your head yet, you don't have to. You can have an idea and start putting it on paper, and then do your research and compiling your book one piece, one chapter at a time. And then after you're done, you again can hire editors and all kinds of people to bring the book to life for you if you are not that strong with writing aspects, right? So writing a book, a nonfiction book, is actually not that difficult these days. So think about it. If you have something in you that you know you gotta write it, then figure out a way. There is one, and it's much simpler than you might have thought. Focus. So the other day I was doing my regular walk, and at the end of this walk, I met a friend. I love living, in this small town because you always meet friends wherever you go. I met a friend and we started talking about the book. And I was really excited. It was, the day before the final edits and everything. And I told him about the book. I showed him the cover. Actually, because of him, I improved my cover. Now it looks much nicer. And he learned about my book, was really excited. He thought it is so useful for people working remotely. And he said, okay, I have a question for you. What do you do when you work on your computer and you just can't focus? Your attention, your focus is all over the place. You end up watching YouTube videos or TikToks or replying messages or calling someone or looking through pictures or through interesting articles or, just instead of doing some important task, you keep answering some unimportant emails. Like, what do you do? How can you help your brain to focus? Like, what's the secret? And there is a secret, actually, that some people kind of stumbled upon, some people figure it out, some people never figure it out and keep struggling, thinking that it's all the devices that stand in the way. And the way to correct that and make your focus almost bulletproof, understand that your brain is very well designed to seek targets to pursue. Your brain is goal-seeking, goal-pursuing machine. And you have a very powerful molecule, even dopamine, that when you see a goal and your brain, you think that there is a reward or that is important, there is this molecule dopamine released, and your desire to accomplish a certain task becomes almost like a craving. Like you want that, chocolate or ice cream or cookie, like you want it and you want it right now. You want that bag, you want that new gadget, right? It's all about dopamine. Dopamine makes you crave stuff, but it can also make you crave accomplishing a certain task. But in order to do that, you need to set that task and understand why it's important by talking to yourself. Visualizing what this task is accomplishing in your work, why it's important now. And not only you have to talk briefly, it takes like a minute or two. You gotta tell yourself why it's important, and you gotta write down. What I usually do, I would type it in the note app. You open your computer and usually have some very simple note app. You can do it also on your phone. You can do it with a pen and paper. What I do to help my brain realize that this goal, this task is important and start releasing that dopamine that makes tasks very addictive, and you have this craving for accomplishing that. So you open up that app note, or you take your notepad and you write it down. You write down a simple few steps plan, what you're going to be focusing on, let's say for the next hour, right? If you need to finish an article, if you need to finish putting together a presentation, what you do is you write down not just finishing the presentation, you want to make the steps kind of more concrete, tangible, and simple for it to work really well. So you open up that note app, or you take your notepad and you write down, let's say you need to finish this presentation. Step 1, open presentation app, or step 1, open PowerPoint. Step 2, figure out how many slides I need. Step 3, write down how many ideas I want to put in that presentation. Step 4, figure out the design, the feel. Step 5, take first idea and start writing. So when you, in the process of writing it down, you start already making it kind of happen in the future. Your brain starts to see the target clearly. Your brain starts to figure starts figuring out what kind of resources and ideas from your previous experience you might use to accomplish this task to the best of your ability. So now your brain has a very tangible goal. It's not sit down and do the work. No, your brain now clearly understands what needs to be done. And what your brain is going to do, that's what every brain does, is bring you ideas and resources how to accomplish this task. And now this task is kind of highlighted because you wrote it down, you typed it in, you made it important, you clarified it, you thought about it, you put quite some mental energy in it, and now your brain knows what to do and it's going to help you to do that. And because of that dopamine being released, it starts to seem, first of all, more important. And then second of thing, it's going to become that irresistible, like you'd want to figure it out. And instead of wanting to check out some TikTok videos, what's going to happen is you'd want to do a little bit of research on each point in your plan. So that's exactly what's going to happen. One thing I do recommend though is to never have your phone by your side, especially with notifications on, while doing a big piece of work. Research showed that whenever people have their phone, especially with sounds, you'll never be able to stay focused, guys. That's just not going to happen. You are constantly going to be distracted. So if this is the task you need to dedicate your time to right now, turn off all the sounds, all the notifications, and put your phone away from your side. That's how you're gonna stay focused. Also on your computer, try to close all the non-related apps and tabs, because if there is something blinking and jumping on your screen, your brain will have harder time to focus, right? So you kind of organize these pieces, eliminate all the distractions, put, some maybe headphones on so people understand you're doing something if you are in an open space or you have family, or tell them, working on something important. So eliminate these distractions. By the way, I'm also wrote about this in the book. And then you write down your plan and you'll start working, and you'll be surprised how focused you are on this task. After doing this exercise, I usually am that focused that I even delay peeing, going to the bathroom if it's not super urgent, until I finish, because my brain is like, we have a target, we're locked on it, we gotta finish it, it's important. And even more important than going and peeing. So don't pee your pants, but you get the idea. It gets that irresistible. By writing it down, by making it clear, by understanding why it's important, what needs to be done, you prime your brain for release of that very powerful molecule, dopamine. So, and also an extra benefit, when you have it written down, if for some reason in the middle of doing that you forget, like, what's the next step? Your attention starts to kind of wander around. What you do is you look at that list, you read it again, and your attention and focus gonna snap right back where they were, helping you to accomplish that task, right? I usually buy a special notepad, like it's yellow. I think they use them in restaurants or maybe for some bills or something. I don't know. It's very simple, very cheap. You can purchase it in Office Depot or something like that. And whenever I need to do a task that is more complex, I always write down those steps. And whenever my attention and focus start to wander, I just read that list, read them aloud, and really easily get back to work. So that's what I explained to my friend. And it works. I don't know how many books on productivity you'll see this kind of tip, but I think it's not made important enough for people to understand that your brain is this goal-seeking machine, target-seeking machine. And without a target, when you just sit down to work, like, what's the target? Your brain's attention starts to wander. And especially if you have, all these notifications, these fancy apps, and your brain is doesn't have a target. It just wanders around trying to find a target. And that's where you start wandering from one app to another, from one TikTok to another, from one video to another. It's simply because you didn't give your brain the target. So your brain is seeking it. And when there are so many distractions available, your brain will eventually find it, but it's not going to be something productive, right? So this is the exercise you need to start doing right today, right now, if you are struggling with this, attention span of a goldfish and your ADHD. Some people say, I have ADHD. I'm like, no, you just don't know how to use your brain. It's not ADHD. It's a poor brain management. And that's why, this book is also blueprint. Like, this is going to teach you some foundational knowledge and practical step of how to actually use your brain. I didn't know for quite a few years how to use it properly, and I screwed up everything that I wrote about in the book, and now I know that it works, right? This is your brain, fit and focus, brain body blueprint. So that's the book and that's the advice, and I'm going to be bringing you more and more advice from this book. It also actually helps me to refine future editions of the book and jot down some ideas of what I'd like to include. But this version is already golden, guys. You put it into action, plus you have the ability to consult with me, and you'll be blown away how much you get done anywhere, and also how much more you enjoy your life, your health and fitness, seemingly doing very little work. Because basic principles are very simple. And in the book, I also tell you how to actually do them. I'm a coach, right? I'm not a scientist. I tell you how to do things. That's it for today, guys. I hope you found this episode super useful. And if you did, I'm also going to be actually making a video on Instagram. So please reach out, give me some comments and try it and give me some feedback. Or maybe you have questions and you didn't exactly understand how it works. Also reach out. Instagram is the best and easiest place at 1000 year young or Angela Shurina. You just search it and you'll find it. That's it, guys. Don't forget to share this episode or the tool with all the people around you, with your team, with your coworkers, with your kids, with your husband, or wives, so they know how to use their focus and attention for things that matter and how to get more things done easier instead of struggling with focus attention. Share this podcast. Give me feedback. Check out my Instagram for the video version of this, how to do it. And have an awesome day, guys. I'll speak with you very soon. Until then, as usual, eat better daily.